Stone Age Spear. The spear was one of humanity's earliest and most effective weapons, transforming how prehistoric people hunted and fought. Simple versions were made by attaching sharpened stone, bone, or wood points to long shaft. Unlike hand-to-hand weapons, a spear allowed its user to attack from a safer distance. Some early spears were designed for throwing, while others were used for thrusting at close range. Archaeological discoveries suggest that humans were using sophisticated wooden spears hundreds of thousands of years ago. Their simplicity was actually their greatest strength. They were cheap, easy to repair, and adaptable. For prehistoric communities, the spear was not just a weapon, it was an essential survival technology that shaped human hunting, defense, and warfare for thousands of years. Bronze Age Bronze Sword. The invention of bronze weapons transformed warfare during the Bronze Age. By combining copper with tin, ancient metalworkers created a material harder and more durable than pure copper. Bronze swords became powerful close combat weapons used by warriors across civilizations including Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and China. Producing them required specialized knowledge because the metal had to be melted, cast, shaped, and sharpened. Swords were expensive compared with simple stone weapons, so owning one could also represent wealth and status. Bronze weapons helped armies become more organized and specialized. Although bronze swords eventually became obsolete when iron became widespread, they represented a major technological leap that changed ancient warfare and gave skilled metalworkers enormous importance. Iron Age Iron Spear. During the Iron Age, iron weapons gradually replaced bronze because iron ore was much more widely available. The iron spear became one of the most practical weapons used by ancient armies. It could be produced in large numbers and used for both throwing and close combat. Greek and later Roman soldiers developed sophisticated spear designs, while many other cultures used similar weapons across Europe, Asia, and Africa. The spear was particularly effective because it required less training than some specialized weapons and could be used by large groups of soldiers. The spread of iron technology made weapons more accessible and helped transform warfare from elite combat toward increasingly organized mass armies. Classical Antiquity Ballista. The ballista was an ancient mechanical weapon designed to launch large arrows or bolts over considerable distances. Developed by Greek engineers and later adopted and improved by the Romans, it used tension from twisted ropes to store enormous amounts of energy. Unlike ordinary bows, the ballista could deliver powerful projectiles with impressive accuracy. Roman armies used various versions during sieges and battlefield operations. Its importance went beyond raw destructive power. It demonstrated how mathematics, engineering, and military strategy could combine to create advanced weapons. The ballista was essentially an ancient form of precision artillery, showing that sophisticated mechanical warfare existed more than 2,000 years ago. Medieval period Trebuchet. The trebuchet became one of the most terrifying siege weapons of the medieval world. Instead of relying on gunpowder, it used a massive counterweight to swing a long throwing arm and launch heavy projectiles toward fortified walls. Large trebuchets could hurl stones weighing hundreds of kilograms, damaging walls and buildings while creating psychological pressure on defenders. Building one required enormous amounts of wood, engineering knowledge, and manpower. During medieval sieges, castles could withstand attacks for weeks or months, so weapons capable of attacking structures from a distance were extremely valuable. The trebuchet represented the peak of pre-gunpowder siege engineering and remained a powerful symbol of medieval warfare. Gunpowder Era Cannon. The arrival of cannons completely transformed warfare. Early cannons were crude compared with modern artillery, but they introduced something revolutionary. Explosive gunpowder could propel heavy projectiles with tremendous force. By the late medieval and early modern periods, cannons became increasingly powerful and reliable. They could smash fortified walls that had previously taken armies months or years to conquer. Naval warfare was also transformed as ships began carrying large numbers of cannons. Fortifications had to evolve in response, leading to lower, thicker defensive walls designed to withstand artillery bombardment. Cannons marked the beginning of an era where technological advances in firepower increasingly determined battlefield strategy and military dominance. Napoleonic Era Musket. The smoothbore musket became one of the defining weapons of 18th and early 19th century warfare. Weapons such as the British Brown Bess allowed infantry soldiers to fire relatively quickly compared with earlier firearms, especially when trained in coordinated formations. Accuracy was limited, so armies often relied on massed volleys rather than individual precision shooting. Soldiers marched and fought in organized lines while officers coordinated movements across the battlefield. The musket changed warfare by making disciplined infantry formations extremely powerful. Combined with artillery and cavalry, massed musketeers helped shape the major European conflicts of the Napoleonic era and demonstrated how organization could be just as important as individual weapon skill. Industrial Age, machine gun. The machine gun introduced an entirely new level of battlefield firepower during the Industrial Age. Early successful designs could fire multiple rounds rapidly without requiring soldiers to reload after every shot. Weapons such as the Maxim gun demonstrated how a small number of operators could produce devastating defensive fire. During World War I, machine guns became especially important, contributing to the dominance of fortified positions and trenches. Their ability to sustain rapid fire made traditional mass infantry attacks extremely dangerous. The machine gun represented the industrialization of warfare, where mechanical engineering and mass production allowed armies to deliver enormous volumes of ammunition with unprecedented speed and efficiency. World War era atomic bomb. The atomic bomb fundamentally changed humanity's understanding of warfare. Unlike conventional explosives, nuclear weapons release energy from reactions within atomic nuclei, producing enormous explosive power. The United States used atomic bombs against Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, helping bring World War II to an end while causing catastrophic destruction and loss of life. The development of nuclear weapons also began a new era of international politics centered around deterrence and the possibility of mutually devastating retaliation. After 1945, military power was no longer measured only by armies, ships, or aircraft. Humanity had created weapons capable of destroying entire cities within seconds. Modern era nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons remain among the most destructive weapons ever created. Modern nuclear arsenals contain warheads vastly more powerful than the bombs used in 1945, with some capable of producing enormous blast effects and widespread radioactive contamination. Their greatest influence, however, may be political rather than battlefield-based. Nuclear-armed countries use the threat of retaliation as a form of deterrence, making direct conflict between major nuclear powers extremely dangerous. The existence of these weapons has shaped international relations, military strategy, arms control agreements, and global security for decades. Today, nuclear weapons represent the terrifying culmination of centuries of weapons development, where technological power has reached a scale capable of threatening civilization itself.